today is a slightly different video. I'm going to be doing the second part of the how accurate is Equilab. So back in, I think it was December, I looked at how accurate the distance was compared to my phone and my GPS watch, and it was pretty good. So we went to the Cotswolds Fun Ride 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and whilst we were there I put Equilab on and I have kind of gone through the video footage for the first hour, well, up until my GoPro died. So it's one solid piece, and I've edited the time down on the Equilab app so that they both match, they're both the same, it's the same part of the ride and it's the same time, and you know that it's all exactly the same, so that we could see how accurate the gait analysis is on Equilab. Now, I already knew that it wouldn't be 100% because once we'd had our first trot through the first field and we got to the end, Equilab shouted at me and told me we'd done 1 minute of canter, and we hadn't done one stride of canter, so I knew it wasn't going to be 100%. But I thought it'd be interesting to have a look and see just how accurate it is, so for all of you that use it for training, you can know whether it's actually telling you the truth. So it has taken me hours and hours to edit this video because I had to go through the whole, I think it's an hour and 9 minutes of footage, and watch it through like a hawk to mark down any transitions, any times that we were halting and stopped for a while, and every little change. So it took a while to get together, but it's all done now. And I finally have some results. So it was over an hour and 9 minutes and 21 seconds. So on Equilab you can actually edit your time and you can put it down. So with the data I had from my GoPro to tell me what time I started and stopped the recording, I matched that up with the Equilab app, so they got exactly the same time. It's over the exact same part of the ride. So that should all be nice and accurate. I was going to do it for the whole ride, but that involved a change of camera battery where I'd have had to guess a little bit about what we were doing, and what transition, you know, we probably would have been stood still, but there might have been a bit of walk, there might have been a bit of halting, and it would have meant I'd have had a lot more to look at, you know, a good more couple of hours to assess. So this was probably the best way of doing it. So the Equilab app thought that we did 57 minutes and 9 seconds of walk, and what we actually did was 53 minutes and 57 seconds. So there's a difference there of 3 minutes. That's not too bad. 3 minutes here or there isn't too bad over an hour's worth. So walk, pretty accurate. I'm quite happy with that. Now the trot, it said we did 5 minutes and 24 seconds, and what we actually did was 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Now over a longer period of time that's not too bad, but over just over an hour, that's a minute and 51 seconds different. Now depending on what you're doing, some people won't do more than 5 minutes of trot when they're bringing horses back into work, or depending on what their aims are. So to be nearly 2 minutes out, that's a fair difference, and that's kind of picked up through the canter. So the Equilab app thought that we did 3 minutes and 2 seconds of canter, and actually all that we did, which is really surprising, but all that we did in this first stretch of the ride was 54 seconds. So it's added on 2 minutes and 8 seconds of canter that just didn't exist, and that's kind of where the trot was. So I don't know how Equilab works out whether you're doing trot or canter, whether it's a speed thing or whether it can work out how the movement is on your phone, and if that's the case you need to be careful where you put it. Mine was in a bum bag for this ride, so maybe if I'd had it on a, you know, in a trouser pocket or something, it might have been a bit more accurate. I don't know, I'd really like to know how it works. If it works on your speed, then it would be nice to be able to put in what speed your horses do in those gaits. Like, I roughly know that Gabby will walk anywhere between 4 and 6 kilometers an hour. She will trot anywhere between 8 to 12, and obviously the canter upwards from that. So it would be good to be able to put that in, because just because her and Beanie are, say, the same height, and that's what Equilab has for their information doesn't mean that their paces are going to be the same. The last thing is I went through and added up all the halt transitions that were in the kind of extra bit in Equilab, which made up the extra time. So Equilab thought that we halted for 3 minutes and 46 seconds, but actually it was 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Most of that was waiting for my mum and waiting for Beanie to catch up. And I think that's where that extra 3 minutes of walk came in. So where we were actually stood still, it thought we were still moving, because that was an extra 3 minutes and 29 seconds that we actually did of standing still. Again, that might not be too much of an issue for you. I mean, I wasn't too bothered. The biggest one for me was the canter, because if you are specifically doing canter training, and if you're relying entirely on the Equilab app, for it to be 2 minutes out over such a short period of time anyway is quite a lot. So yes, it is okay. The walk side of it definitely seems okay. The trot is a little bit iffy, and the canter, it seems to overestimate. It seems to mangle the trot and the canter together a little bit too much. So it depends what you're using it for. If you're just going for a fun ride and it's interesting to see at the end of the ride, then that's fine. But if you're doing more important work, as it were, you might be better doing interval training or stuff like that, where you can really keep an eye on your time and make sure you are trotting and cantering for the amount of time that you actually want to do, rather than entirely relying on the app. Oh, the last thing I didn't mention was the transitions. So Equilab said, I think 143 or 144. Yeah, we did 149 transitions, and that might not be quite 100% accurate, because I might have missed some that might have been counted as a transition but weren't. The transition side of it, actually, I was really quite impressed. I didn't think that was bad over an hour. So the transitions were good, the walk's good, trot and canter needs a little bit of work. It's really interesting to see it broken down, but otherwise, say it's a good app. I don't know of any others that kind of break it down like that for you, so it is interesting to see. You just need to, don't take it as 100% fact. Give it a little bit of leeway, a couple of minutes for the trot and the canter, especially if you've done a ride and you know you haven't cantered and it says you've done so much canter. Just add that into your trot work, basically. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different video. I appreciate I've only done one test with it, and it's not exactly the most scientific, you know, really. Lots of different people need to be testing it and blah 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 to see how accurate it really is. But it gives a little bit of an insight. It was a lot of work for the gain, to be honest, so I don't really want to be doing it again. But I will definitely use Equilab more when I'm doing more rides with trot and canter in. I think it's interesting to see roughly how much you're doing, and especially the transitions. That's really, really interesting. So yeah, give it a go, see what you think, see how accurate you think it is for your horse. Obviously I'm on a pony, it might be better suited to a horse with bigger strides and potentially a bigger difference in speed from trot and canter. You might find it more accurate than if you're riding a pony. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.